Hi, welcome to What's Cooking with Rochelle. Today we are going to make homemade pizza. And we're going to do a really interesting twist on it. We are going to roll our pizza up. So back east we make a pizza roll. And so we're going to go ahead and do that at the end. The first part, of course, with pizza is pizza dough. Now, if you don't want to make your own pizza dough, there's plenty of pre-made pizza doughs that you can buy at the grocery store. It's in the refrigerated section, so it's not frozen, it's refrigerated. And it is so much better than those pre-made, already cooked pieces of dried, whatever you want to call them. But we're gonna make it from scratch. So again, if you want to skip this step and be homemade pizza in 10 minutes, you absolutely could, but we're going to make the crust. So to make pizza dough, of course, you need flour, you're gonna need some yeast, salt, sugar, and a little bit of oil. We have here 3/4 of a cup of water that is lukewarm. That means if you've ever had a baby, you could put your finger in it, it's not gonna burn you. It's not too hot, but it's not like freezing either. So the first step is we're gonna put the water in the bowl and we're gonna dump the sugar in with the water. And just give it a quick stir. If the water is the right temperature, it'll melt pretty easily. Okay, so you can see that's done, it's clear again. We're gonna put the yeast in that. And again, just give it a quick stir. Now they also make yeast for pizza dough specifically. Again, it'll cut this time down because you don't have to wait. I'm going to just let this sit for a minute so you can see. If you're ever worried or you've ever made bread before and it didn't rise or didn't work out, this step here is what was wrong. The water was too hot or the water was too cold and the yeast didn't bloom. That's what they call it when it starts bubbling. So I'm gonna let this sit here for about 5 minutes just so you can see what bloomed yeast looks like. Again, this is just for your benefit so that you can understand how that happens. So give me just a minute, we'll come back and then we're gonna just add the rest of our stuff and stir it up. All right, guys, look, see, this is what your yeast needs to look like. If it looks like this, it's gonna turn out. No problem. You can't mess it up from here. Okay, we are going to add a cup of flour. And I have about 2.5 cups here because you never know exactly how much you're gonna need. So we're gonna put a cup of flour, a teaspoon of salt, and just a little bit of olive oil. That's about a tablespoon. We'll see if we want more in a minute. We're gonna stir this up. Let's put it just a little bit more in there. All right, let's add another cup of flour. That was like 3/4 of a cup. Now, once you get it to this point, then we get to go and have fun and we get to get our hands dirty. So you want the dough to be not dry. So what does that mean? When they say sticky, they mean that when you put your hand in it, it sticks to you a little bit. But you don't want it so sticky that it doesn't have enough flour to rise. All right, so I'm going to take this out of the bowl to show you. So you see how it's kind of sticky still? You see that? That's what we want. We're going to just rub this together a little bit. You want it so it sticks to your hands a little bit, but not a lot. So I'm just going to put just a hair more flour in it. Again, we're making pizza dough, so you don't really have to worry about kneading it. That's what this is called that I'm doing. I'm just doing this to get the flour in it because it just gets it in it better, faster. So we're going to make a nice little ball. And with any fresh dough, you always want to let it rest. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put this in a bowl, the same bowl. That way we're not making whole bunches of dishes for us. And that little bit of oil that we have left over, we're going to rub on the outside. Now, if you don't want to get your hands dirty with this, you absolutely can spray it with a cooking spray. Okay. That is our pizza dough. Voila. Now we're going to cover this. You can cover it with saran wrap, a dish towel, whatever. This dish is plenty big enough. We're going to let it sit for about a half an hour, and it's going to double in size, and I'll show you what it looks like at that point. Okay guys, pizza dough is ready. Let's take off the plastic. Now the good news is it's risen. So just gently stick your fingers in it and squish it down. And we're gonna take our dough out. Now the best thing about pizza, you don't have to make the dough look beautiful at all. But to get everything else ready, I'm going to tell you what else we have here, and we're going to cook our spinach. So with a pizza roll-up, you can put whatever toppings you want in it. If you want all meat, like you want to do ham and bacon and sausage, go for it. If you want to do all veggies and you want like zucchini and broccoli and peppers and onions, go for it. So the fun thing about pizza is you get to make it your own. And when we have make your own pizza night here at my house, everybody gets whatever toppings they want. Today I chose to make a spinach and cheese pizza roll-up. So when you make spinach in a pizza, you got to cook it first. So we're going to take this spinach, and I'm just going to tear it up a little bit just so it's not in big pieces. And then I'm going to put it in my skillet. And I'm just going to cook it until it is wilted. So that's pretty good. Let's go take that over to the stove. And you're just going to dump it in there. Spinach really shrinks. So I know this may look like it's a ton of spinach, but you're going to see how little it is when we're all done. Okay. Now on this, I'm going to put just a hint of pepper and salt. Spinach doesn't have a lot of taste on and of its own. So we're going to let that cook for just a minute. While that's going, we're going to get our dough in the shape that we want. Now, if you're one of those fancy people that can throw a dough and make it look beautiful, I'm impressed. All we need to do for this, though, is simply make it into the shape of our pan. We're making it into a rectangle, and we're gonna just make it as flat as we can so that we can put all of our toppings on it and have fun. So you can use a rolling pin if you would like. You can use your hands. If you have a anything flat, you could use that. But you could see what we're doing. Now, we made enough dough for one like 12-inch pizza. So you can see it should cover about the whole inside area there. And I have a splat mat on the bottom here because that's going to make it be really crispy on the bottom. And voila, it's ready. Now, we'll go ahead and start with our cheeses, and then we'll put the spinach on top before we roll it up. How's that? So I have a few different cheeses, and again, you can use whatever cheese you want. I have some fresh buffalo mozzarella, regular mozzarella. I have a feta cheese and parmesan cheese. I think a mixture of cheeses just kind of gives you more flavor. Obviously, the buffalo mozzarella is going to be really not much taste, but it's going to give you the texture, that ooey gooey, runny, stretchy cheese type. And you can use as much or as little cheese as you want. If you don't want any cheese, obviously you can do it without cheese, or you could use vegan cheese if you wanted something like that. Like I said, this can be as healthy or not healthy as you want. So we're gonna put a little mozzarella in here now. And I just grabbed some and put it in a bowl, kind of an idea of how much I might need. Now you can see I'm leaving like a little space around the edges, and I'll show you why that is as we get closer. To me, feta is, because it's such a salty cheese, it's a nice addition. People will say, oh, that's really good. What made it so good? Shh, it's the feta. All right, so we got some spices here as well once we get all of our cheesies in here. And that looks good. So, again, you can use whatever spices you want. I have some crushed red pepper. And you can make it spicier if you want, or less spicy, depending on how much you would use. I have basil, oregano, and thyme that I'm using as my spices. And some of these are actually from my spices that I dried. You can use fresh too if you want, but not necessary in a pizza that you're rolling up anyway. Okay, let's go check on our spinach. Okay, so we have basically just cooked the water out of the spinach. I haven't like killed it, right? So you can kind of still see it. And we're simply, it could stay hot. We're simply just gonna grab it and put it on top. There's no special order of any of this. You could have put the spinach on the bottom. Just spread it out. And you can see how that giant bowl of spinach came down to not that much, right? Voila. Okay, so now for the fun part, we are going to roll it up simply like that. That's why it's called a pizza roll-up. So you're going to take whichever end you want to start with, and you're going to roll it lengthwise. You're just going to flip it up, use your hands, and just hold it together. Now there's going to be stuff fall out the ends. That's okay. We're going to get that later. And scoop it onto the sides. When you get to the bottom, grab that and pull it up to close it. Okay. Just like that. We're going to tuck the ends and flip it around. That is simply all you have to do. Now we're going to take some spray. That's it. So now it's ready to go into the oven. You're going to leave it uncovered in the oven at 425 degrees for about 15 minutes, and we're going to have amazing homemade pizza. Let me put it in the oven and I'll be right back. All right, ready to get the pizza out of the oven? Look at this. Doesn't that look amazing? Ah, heaven. Okay, so normally what I do is I cut it into portions, depending on how hungry you are. One like this, you could usually serve 4 people, 3 people for sure, 2 if you're really hungry. We're gonna let this rest for just a couple of minutes to set up. I'm gonna cut it and we're gonna get to eat. Okay, so it's been resting for a few minutes and I've been holding off very patiently. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. Now I usually cut it at an angle. And be careful not to cut your mat. So usually what I do is I pick it up like that. Okay, so you can see how wonderful that looks. And we can go ahead and slice up the rest of it. So I'm gonna cut it into 4 pieces. Very good. All right, get rid of this. Now I get to eat. So, it smells so good, guys. Like I said, if you want to use all meat, you can. This is a kind of a little healthier way because you've got the spinach with the cheese. And we usually serve ours with a marinara, a sauce on the side. And you can dip it. That is amazing. You know, thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't yet, do it now. Thanks for watching What's Cooking with Rochelle. Bye for now.